All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome into the PHNX Rising Podcast. Hope y'all are doing fantastic after quite the Saturday of the stadium opener. My name is Max Simpson, and I'm joined by a man who is not watching the closed cup, the Ajar Cup, the Askew Cup, but he's watching the Open Cup, Mr. Owain Evans. How we doing?
How long did you take to think of that one?
Gonna be honest, came up with it about a minute ago. Come up with the fly.
About a minute ago. Did someone buy you a dictionary for Christmas?
No, well, first off, you're actually thinking about a thesaurus, buddy. Get your textbooks right.
Well, a dictionary as well. You can look multiple things up. I mean, your birthday was this week. You could have been given a thesaurus for your birthday.
I wasn't. I just have it all in here.
Hey, how was your birthday?
It was good. It was very good. I'm another year wiser, another year more seasoned with the advertising transitions. Really, it's just
also debatable.
All great content from here. But no, appreciate you asking. It was a very good birthday. I'm not really a big me birthday guy, so just kept it low key. Had a little dinner. Italian for those who enjoy a little.
Is it actually Italian risotto? Or is it like American?
What do you mean? Okay.
See,
No. It is. There was Italians eating there. A lot of Italians eating there. A lot of.
What type of risotto?
What's that?
What type of risotto?
Ooh.
I don't even know what type of risotto.
It was like a lemon cream. It was like in a lemon cream sauce. Very good.
Risotto's top tier.
It is quite good. Yeah, it's not for everyone. People like to go for the angel hairs, the linguinis, etc., etc. But we like all types of pasta and whatnot in this establishment. Speaking of what we like in this establishment, got a lot of things to get to.
We do. We do happen to like to talk about Phoenix Rising as well.
We sure do. Yeah, we should. Mm-hmm. You know me, man. I'm going to steer us off skid. You kind of get us back on, and we'll kind of play that roller coaster as it comes up. But yes, we want to talk a bit further, diving into Saturday's performance. We went through a lot. There was a lot of stuff that happened before the match with all the pregame festivities, the tailgating, everything like that. It was awesome. Thank you, everyone, again, so much for joining us, indulging in such a really cool moment. And, taking a bit of time to digest everything that happened, I'm curious if your opinion of how Rising Fair changed, the result, or anything like that has shifted, because me personally, I still think in retrospect, that they were by far the better team, even in the periods where they were not dominating possession. I think my view of that game has honestly gone more favorable over time, and I'm upset that we drew. I'm more upset that we drew.
I wouldn't say they were by far the better team. I think that's where I'd kind of draw the line a little bit. I don't think that by far Phoenix Rising dominated that game by most metrics, right?
Okay.
Yes, they probably had a few better chances, but it wasn't as cut and dry as to say, I think that, especially in the context here of San Diego coming away from home, I think they put in a pretty good performance for an away team coming into a relatively hostile atmosphere. Let's be honest. I just feel as though overall it's disappointing in some ways. If you'd have turned around before the game and said, should Phoenix Rising just accept a draw today? I'd have said off the bat, yeah, draw would be a good result. It would be great to come away with a point against a team that should be in the top two in the conference, kind of positioning by the end of the year. Maybe not top two, maybe they're third. I mean, I'm sure if Harry from San Antonio pops in the chat, he'll argue that actually it should be them and Sacramento probably up there. But look, giving up 2 goals when you're 2-0 up, that's not great.
It's going off what Mikey's saying in the chat. No way we should have given up a 2-goal lead in that atmosphere. I get what you're saying. Logically, a team especially that beat us 3-0 2 weeks prior, even though we had a very good performance that many would say we're the better team, I disagree, man. I mean, listen, maybe I'm overhyping the atmosphere and maybe I'm leaning too much on that and putting too much into that aspect. But no, man, 100%, I think that's a game you go in and you like your chances. It's very difficult to beat a team twice, especially in a span of that short of a time. Mm-hmm. And I think it's not me being overly critical of the team because it's tough to gain that 2-goal advantage and then let it dissipate. And again, I think a draw is better than a loss, but it's hard done by. I'm more bitter about that draw than I was in the moment.
Yeah, I'm still going to come out with this. I think there's big positives in that performance. I think that it's moving in the right direction. I think was in most exactly what this team can be when it becomes what Juan Guerra wants it to be. And I don't think that we can necessarily say that about the previous two matches. I don't think that against San Diego Loyal away from home, Phoenix Rising ever really managed to turn it up that extra gear and be threatening and be the team that you want to see them be come the end of the year. I think in this game, barring the mishaps in the second half, giving up those goals, I think they probably were the kind of team you want to see, the kind of team that you can see taking any team in this league to the hilt. And I think they can definitely threaten if they play like that now going forward. But I don't know. I'm still hesitant to say they were the better team.
Fair enough. Well, regardless, I think I do agree with you that the team has improved. And I think, to me, one of the key ways that they have improved is within their positioning. I think you see it from match to match that they are pushing up higher as a team, not as much as like a full-on, I would say in a pressing sense as much, but really in how they're building up. They are not just going solely out from center back to outside back to center back. They are able to ping it around, and they are looking a bit more for that clinical attacking finish. And I think it's something that we really see highlighted from game to game in more dramatic ways from their number 9, Manuel Arteaga.
Right, yeah, and we have pulled, we've spoken about this in the past couple of weeks about Arteaga and where he's been positioned in the field. We got his heat map from the last game now. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can see it's a lot more attack-minded, way more attack-minded than any of the others that we've seen. And he's proven that when he does that, he gets his 2 goals. I think that there's a lot that goes into this mind. It's not as simple as just, well, he gets up the field. I think he was getting a little bit better service. One of the interesting things to note when you actually look at it, he's getting the ball from Federico Varela. He's not really getting it from Emil Cuello, who was the other player up there. And of course, Uzo gives him the first assist as well. Look, overall, I think the key thing here is Arteaga's goals, were they... I mean, we kind of want to say tap-ins in some ways, right?
It's a poacher's goal.
I think the second goal maybe involved a little bit more to it because it was a bit more reaching.
Nothing wrong with that.
But it's not it's not as though it was a shot from distance.
For a team that scored one
You've
goal,
got to be in those positions.
For a team that scored 1 goal in 2 matches, I do not care how the goals come. I don't care if it's an own goal. I don't care if it's a penalty. I don't care if it's a tap-in like the first one was. Producer Shane, if we can pull that up one more time. I do want to know 2 things very clear. Number 1, you see that nice big circle for those of you who are watching visually. It is right on the 6-yard box. And that is absolutely where you want that type of movement to be. Because even if, let's say, Manuel Arteaga is not scoring, it is something where he is in the right positions. He's taking up that space, and you are constantly putting pressure on the defense. The second point I would like to bring up, and this is something that is very drastically different, is if you look on the left side of that map where he's taking up on the defensive positions, you see that the farthest back he is pretty much right outside that center circle, meaning he is not the type of player who should be pressing back and dropping in deep, really trying to get the 11 men behind the ball. You want them on your last defender almost at all times. That's where he's doing his best battles. That's where he is taking up that space. And the fact that even when Rising did not have the ball and San Diego was trying to press, he wasn't dropping back super deep. He was always on that back line. So that, to me, is a very good key in how they were able to switch from defense to offense because he's taking up those high positions up the field. Yeah,
and the other thing to note there, actually, is that despite the fact that he's spending so much time up the field, how many times has he called offside? Well, how many times did the entire team offside? The answer was 0 in that game, actually. There were no offside calls.
You gave me an interesting stat that
only been called offside 3 times all year.
Which is what, Rising. 4th lowest in the championship?
Yeah, there are 3 teams who have been called offside less. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah. That's fascinating. No, it shows it's good defense, positioning.
I think there's discipline, but I also think that it's probably a byproduct in some ways of the system.
Yeah, I was going to say
the system isn't a quick. It's not like some of these teams you see the very swashbuckling. I know we're using the source. You started this one, kind of going for it.
Yeah.
They're not. They don't play that way. They play very methodical, very measured, and so they're not pushing the defensive line perhaps quite as much, which can be bad at times. And I think we've seen the bad side of that actually in the earlier games. But more recently, I think they looked all right. They looked all right against San Diego in the attack in that last game. I mean, some people would argue, and I know Michael will probably argue, and multiple people in our post-game were arguing after that match that Arteaga probably should have had a third. It feels a bit harsh to criticize a guy who's put 2 away, but
that's fair. I mean, listen, it's fair. And I think after that first one was missed, we all kind of were looking at ourselves like, shoot. But hey, my prediction did come true. I did say you take that to the BetMGM Sportsbook app, and I said, hey, you put some money down on Manuel Arteaga scoring. In fact, he was actually named to the USL Team of the Week.
As well as another player as well.
Well, that is a beautiful transition into another bit of positioning we will want to highlight. So we saw that it wasn't just our number 9 getting forward and taking up good positions. It was also the fullbacks, and one fullback in particular.
Yeah. So Uzo actually, and we've got another heat map for you. Uzo, you're looking now. Uzo's on the bottom of your screen. That's his touch line, and then Gabby Torres up on the top of the screen there. What you're going to see is the fact that Uzo's those dots are pretty much all the way up and down. In fact, if anything, it feels a little bit more aggressive, a little bit further forward than defensive in some ways, because it's going from left to right there. You've got that really big clump right on the byline in that bottom corner. Yeah. Gabby Torres not getting forward quite as much. He is a little bit. There are patches on there, but the thrust of his involvement seems to be in his own half and just the other side of the halfway line. And that's something that I think we've seen quite a bit from this system. There is an imbalance in the fullbacks.
Yes.
Doesn't matter who's playing. There's always an imbalance in the fullback slightly. One of them is going to be that bit more aggressive than the other. The other's often going to kind of stay back. They can then slot back into the defense if needed when the ball is turned over. So it's interesting. It's interesting to get that look at it and really see the contrast kind of highlighted in this way.
No, for sure. And to further clarify on that graphic, right, we said that Uzo is everything on the bottom, taking up that right-hand side. Gabby Torres is everything up top. Even the parts in the middle, I mean, you can kind of see these guys stick pretty much solely to their side. This is something that's different from last year. And granted, yes, different personnel, different systems tweaking slightly. But my word, Juan has those guys playing, touching the sideline, like hugging it. It's very, you mentioned to me during the GCU match, it was almost Pep Guardiola-esque in how they're looking to approach in a way.
Did I say that?
You did say that. You literally did say that.
Saying that.
You did.
I can't remember saying that.
Granted, I'm not trying to call you out. It's not like you were saying, oh, this is the comparison, but it was like the idea. You did say, though, it was like that's how, you noted, that is how Pep plays his fullbacks. Wow, I've never seen.
I can't remember saying that.
I've never seen Owain at a loss for words.
I can't remember saying that, but all right,
you did.
All right.
You did. If I was going to BS you, I would come up with something way more bombastic.
Listen. We might be defending Juan on this podcast. I don't think I've gone as far as to just compare him to Pep Guardiola.
You did.
But I'll
hot take. Owen Evans compares Juan Guerra at Phoenix Rising to Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. Take it to the bank now. I can see the headlines.
No, I was actually going to follow it up with a serious point here, which is that when you're looking at that, it kind of says something that we've almost said all along, which is that those two attacking midfielders, they're not wingers.
Yeah.
The width is coming from those fullbacks, so we're not expecting to see them putting too much. Well, they come out wide because you need a little bit of support for those fullbacks, but you're not expecting them to be the ones going up to the byline and crossing it in. You're expecting the fullbacks to probably fill a little bit more of that role.
No, for sure. And I mean, to the point, going really quick back to the Manchester City comparison or parallel, it is quite interesting how they actually, Manchester City had an 88 pass sequence, the longest in recorded history of the Premier League, leading to a shot on target. It was in fact a goal over the weekend. And it is something that we kind of talked about, how you see a positioning with Arteaga, you see a positioning with these fullbacks, that this is a team where they'll take their shots vertically when they need to, but that's really not how they're trying to play.
No, it's in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I kind of flummoxed you on that one. No, but
you have. I still can't remember ever making that comment.
Promise I was there. But no, it was. It's interesting because as well, Uzo was also named to the USL Team of the Week, and I mean, I think it's very easy to call out the goal scorer, one who bags a brace, but it's one of those performances where it may not show up as much. It may not show up as much on the stat sheet. And yes, he had the assist, but the shift that he was putting in up and down that sideline was awesome to see.
Well, it's the mix of everything, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the mix of everything. There was the pace there. There was the physicality to shrug off certain defenders. And there was the technical ability when he did actually get up into those positions, which you saw perfectly exemplified by the assist that he got for Arteaga. When he gets up there, he's perfectly capable of playing that ball in. So when you've got that trio, you can't really go wrong.
Yeah, I agree. No, you can't go wrong with that. You also can't go wrong with going to our friends at Circle K, baby. They got all kinds of things you can stock up with through our month of April. They got Polar Pops, iced coffee for just $1.89. Red Bull, 3 for $8, Monsters, 3 for $6, all different types of things we got going on with them. Thank you again for those who did the text to win early on in March when we launched the partnership. Again, keep on the lookout. We are going to be doing more text to wins with them. And by the way, if you already did the text to wins, be on the lookout because they're going to send you stuff like a free Polar Pop and other things purely just for texting a number. That easy. Again, keep on the lookout for the other stuff we're going to be doing with them. But to make sure you're not missing out on all the great stuff, head on over to circlek.com/store-locator. Again, circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you. And I'll give you a little spoiler that we are going to be doing a lot of cool content with them in the very near future. And you will, you're going to see us in a lot more places. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. So find Circle K. And wow, that's a transition if you're watching on YouTube, because I just put a Circle K koozie on a Four Peaks, and you can grab Four Peaks at your local Circle K, and you can grab a Four Peaks as well at their A Street Pub. They got all kinds of great things going on. When we were there at our last Wednesday, I tried something called a tea shot, which was a green tea lager, and goodness gracious, it was freaking delicious. It was awesome. It was super drinkable.
That's different.
Super drinkable. It was a nice hourglassy shape. Don't really know how else to call it other than that, but it was a very nice tall drink of water, but it wasn't water. It was beer. Very happy about that. And they got all kinds of great things.
A nice tall drink of water, Max.
Oh, thank you, producer Shane. Shane doesn't often produce our pods, but I always like him when he does because he compliments me. Unlike some of the other producers.
Yeah, you Four Peaks.
Mainly
Get
Jacob.
out there. Come on, tailgating. Tailgating. Phoenix Rising. I saw some Four Peaks out there. A lot of people have brought along now that they can go drink in the parking lot.
And those people have darn good taste. Well, by the way, a lot of people saw what we were doing on Twitter and whatnot. We're going to be doing a lot more tailgating segments and content, for these home games. So be on the lookout. But yes, appreciate everyone who is enjoying a nice, tasty Four Peaks beverage. They know their stuff. They are smart people. And by the way, if those of you who are fans of the other type of football, Owen's favorite type of football, psych. Anyway, there's a new coach, there's a new GM for the Cardinals. They have the third pick in the NFL draft. It's a massive opportunity. Make sure to take in this pivotal moment at the Four Peaks 8th Street Pub on April 27th. Again, those of you who are fans of NFL, join us there, April 27th at the Four Peaks Pub. Drink specials, all different types of great things. I also have a new Coyote shirt. Oh my goodness, they got all kinds of things. If you are fans of Four Peaks, check it out. Everything they're doing, you must be 21 years or older to enjoy. Gotta love the stuff we're cooking up with Four Peaks. Speaking of cooking up, got to cook up some Open Cup. We were just watching 3 games at once.
We were.
And
now, I mean, Michael actually hinted at it here. Don't go doxing Cinnamon Apple now. Greg Hurst scored for New Mexico United in their game.
There you go.
More going on.
There you go.
Not there. No, come on, Max. Don't make it. I mean, I'm happy for Greg, but it's New Mexico. I'm not cheering for New Mexico. I'm saying good goal for Greg. Nice guy. It's good goal for Greg. We like Greg. That's it. Greg was a good friend of the pod and came in. Actually,
that is all I was saying. Good goal.
He did came in and visited us at the old
trying
studio.
Trying to put me in a hearse.
We've got
a funeral, not a Greg hearse. Anyway, boom. Yeah, so Open Cup, baby.
They're not the same word. They're not the same word, Max.
All right, yes.
Pissed.
Oh, man.
Pissed.
Yes, okay. Well,
see the T at the end.
Wow. Well, good on me for getting us off the rails. Let's walk through the history of Open Cup. For those of you who might be joining us who are like, what's the Open Cup? Again, it's not the closed cup, not the Ajar Cup. What is the Open Cup?
It's a cup.
Yes. How long has the Open Cup been around, my good friend?
Over 100 years.
That's a long-running cup. In fact, the longest in North American soccer.
Yeah. It's one of the oldest knockout cup competitions in football in the world. Not the oldest. There are multiple that are older than it, but one of the older ones. It was in the 1910s, I believe it was first held.
Absolutely. Well, for those who maybe aren't as familiar with how the different pools go in, people are saying, why are there not MLS teams in right now? I know you're missing them. What does that look like in terms of the round that we are about to watch when Rising takes on Greenville Triumph tomorrow?
Sure. So to give kind of the overview, right? Rising will be entering in the second round. It's where USL Championship, USL League One, and NISA teams all enter. Those are the Seoul MLS Next Pro team would have entered had they not ceased operations. Their tie has now been ruled a forfeit. So the professional leagues outside of MLS all enter in the second round. The first round is where teams who qualified, they're from what we call the open division.
Yep.
So that is pretty much anyone outside of the top 3 tiers of football in this country. They come under the open division. Now, some of those qualify via their league. Some have to go through the 4 qualifying rounds that took place at the end of last year to get in. But the beauty of this competition is that ultimately any team that is affiliated with US soccer and that meets some certain pretty minimum requirements outside of the financial, which can prove burdensome, right, to national cup competition. Finances, if you're a Sunday league team, can be quite difficult. But in theory, you can enter. You can enter the cup. You can join in September as they start qualification and get around to this point now where professional teams start to enter. And we do see that some amateur teams have played. I mean, Lansdowne Boys lost today. They were playing against Hartford Athletic, or they always come up as Lansdowne Boys on here. The Lansdowne Yonkers is the name they play under in the cup. Jacksonville Armada, another amateur team, lost to Miami FC today. And so it's the only real opportunity that teams from different leagues and different divisions have to play against each other.
Yeah, and it's quite beautiful. We even saw a bit of a Cinderella run in last year's Open Cup when USL champion side Sacramento Republic went on to face Orlando City
in the final.
Of the MLS.
In finals.
And they
knocked out multiple MLS teams on the way there.
They knocked out Galaxy. They knocked out LA Galaxy. Sporting. There was one other, I believe. But regardless, they even held Orlando City to 0-0 at halftime, if my memory serves me correctly. They ended up losing 3-0, kind of, floodgates open a bit. But, like, very valiant showing. And that's something where you just kind of see how many more games that these lower sides have to play, and just the discrepancy in, I mean, not just talent, but like funding, salaries, everything. You really do not see this often.
You don't. I know that Pat's not maybe the biggest fan of Sacramento.
We understand that, but we're not saying we're rooting for Sac, but we're rooting for a USL Championship side to take it.
No. Well, yes, only one USL Championship side.
I'm not saying. I'm saying in years past. You're telling me last year that you wanted to see an MLS team rather than a USL side.
I'd rather see an NPSL team.
That's not an option. That wasn't an option in last year's finals.
Well, I mean, it could have been at some point.
Okay.
At some point.
Okay.
I'd happily see an amateur team make the run. It would be amusing. But
anyway.
But at the end of the day, you're right. I mean, the other important thing about this is that if you get to that final and you win it, you're in the CONCACAF Champions League. That is huge, right?
No, not that one.
You have to think about now from Sacramento's perspective from last year. If they'd won that game and they were in the CONCACAF Champions League, I mean, look, we can talk about would they get embarrassed? I'm sorry. MLS already does that with Austin FC losing to Violette. I just... Rising as I hope every team loses in the cup gets cancelled. But yeah,
Pat knows I respect the pettiness. I respect
that. Yeah, I can respect that. But... I think that, look, and Michael's saying he doesn't think we have a chance at it, but I think Sacramento proved that last year. And that's something that Emil Cuello said as well. He played in that final. Yeah. He came off the bench for Sacramento Republic in that game. He's now with Phoenix Rising. It proved that it's possible. It proved that as a USL team, you can do it. And it's something where I think for those of you who aren't big football fans, you got to look at this as like, what if you had March Madness, but instead of all being college basketball teams, you just said, let's just get everyone from the top professional teams down to Parks teams, effectively, can join in. And that's the thing. Because it's one game, they're all one-off games, and because there's always, to some extent, if you've got some degree of infrastructure, the ability to host that game. We saw Sacramento hosted their semi-final last year. You can never rule it out.
No,
you can never rule out the fact the underdogs are going to come out on top. And we see this here. We see this in other competitions across the world. I mean, a lot of people were watching Wrexham playing in the FA Cup because of, obviously the documentary on them and all of that kind of content, and that's got them vaguely interested in that club, who are not one of the best teams in Wales, but we'll move on. It's great. There's a lot of history to this competition. I mean, people always talk as well about that as the history of the sport here, and how a lot of the times, it feels like we're kind of reaching out for, legitimacy in certain things when everything is so young. The clubs are, from the 90s at the best. A lot of the clubs are from the late 2000s and the 2010s. Well, this is something with legitimacy. This is something that is a tournament that's run for so long that why not lean into that? Why not enjoy all of those storylines?
Well, and that's a fair point. Mikey does bring up a fair point that, we're talking about Sac Republic, and we do want to see Rising make more of a U.S. Open Cup run. Sadly, last year, the Sac Republic that made it to the finals knocked out Rising. Yeah. Anything you'd like to highlight on last year's run?
That I was happy when the plane left Sacramento.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, that's fair. I get that. Q. We do have to talk about, of course, Rising's opponent, Greenville Triumph.
We do.
Greenville Triumph, they play in USL League One, so just below USL Championship where Rising plays. And listen, we understand that it is a League One team. We're not going to sit around here that it's the same caliber of USL Championship. However, it's not like we're playing some nobody in League One. Greenville Triumph has been very successful, albeit in that lower league, but in the lower league nonetheless. They were the runners-up in the league in 2019 and 2021 and winning the whole gosh darn thing in 2020. So they do have that pedigree of success. They do carry over some players from last year. And it's, hey, listen.
They won, to be clear, they won that game. They won the league in 2020 because they won the regular season, went to the final. They should have been playing Union Omaha. There was some COVID outbreaks on Union Omaha's side, which sources have indicated are because of people going to a bar. That was 2020, so not ideal. And the final was cancelled.
That's fair. Well,
Greenville are a good team for League One. Very good team.
Asterisks or whatnot aside, it's something that, it is a challenging team. And let's not kid ourselves. Yeah. We're also playing like Rising where, they've had a couple results in 2 out of 3 games, but they're still seeking that first win. And for anyone who's saying it's going to be
they played one game. They've played one game,
I'm talking about Rising is seeking their first win.
Oh, Greenville played one game.
Greenville is also seeking their first win, but I'm saying Rising is seeking their first win. For those people who are saying it's going to be an automatic W or, you're facing a lower league team, it's not. Yeah. It is really a crapshoot. It's something that you have to pay attention to this team. And kind of looking at Greenville and some, anything we can dig up.
They played one game. Yeah, that's kind of
anything you can dig up from their game against Richmond Kickers, where they lost 1-0. Essentially, Richmond scored very early on and just bunkered in, and that's exactly how the game unfolded.
Yeah, Richmond got the goal in that one 12 minutes into the game, and when you actually look at what happened from there, they didn't create that many chances. They created one chance in the entire second half. Greenville did have chances in that game. They couldn't put them away, but the thing is, they were also missing some people. Let's delve a little bit actually into what they came out with. They came out in a 4-4-2 in that game. Greenville, again, it's one game. How much do we read into it? Not sure. It was a 4-4-2. It did look somewhat like a 4-4-2 because sometimes you never know how things are described and how the average positions work out and all of that. It did look a bit like a 4-4-2. Those wingers, though, did come quite narrow at times. They did pinch inside to try and add some more bodies into the middle. But yes, they came out as a 4-4-2. They were missing a few players that really were pretty big in terms of what they did last year. Alan Gavilanes, he missed the match. He's one of the more creative minds in that Greenville squad. He created over 50 chances last year. He had 4 assists. He scored 4. So the assists and the goals, maybe not the best numbers, but when you're creating 54 chances, I believe, over the course of a USL season, that's someone who's really a dangerous player in the build-up. I mean, Jacob Labovitz, who came off the bench against Richmond, he scored 12 goals for them last year and created 15 chances as well himself for 2 assists. That was in his first professional season last year, by the way. And that's a theme here, right? Greenville has a pretty young team. It's to be expected. They're in League One. There's a lot of guys in the squad who are like first year out of college or they're very close to that. They're in their early 20s. A few people who aren't necessarily in that way. Tyler Pollack in defense. He's been with Greenville since 2019. He was previously, you just run through the list of clubs, FC Cincinnati, New England Revolution, Rochester Rhinos, Minnesota United. He played actually for the US under-20s. So, look, expect him to be involved. When he's out there, he's a defender. He was involved in over 6 duels per game last year. He won 58% of them. But he's not necessarily the best in the air. So, yeah. When you look at other people as well, Leonardo Castro actually is a new option up top. Just joined them. Colombian striker. Most recently, prior to playing for Greenville, was playing for Kaizer Chiefs in South Africa. Scored 29 goals over several years down there. Played in the CAF Champions League as well. So, he's got a bit of a pedigree there. And some others as well, just to kind of chuck in there. Venton Evans, he intrigues me. He's a Jamaican defensive midfielder. Someone who scored 6 goals last year, 3 assists. Defensive midfielder scoring 6 goals. That ain't bad.
No.
That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. Looking at any others, let's see here. A couple of returners who did come in. There's Noah Frank, who was a returner. Didn't play very much last year due to injuries. Another defender. And then a couple of guys they picked up from elsewhere. Devin Boyce in the midfield from Memphis 901. Felt a bit more of a periphery kind of guy at Memphis 901 last year in that midfield. Didn't really do very much. Didn't play as much as that one in. It's Tevin Shaw from Tucson as another option in midfield. He was actually capped by Jamaica. He's been capped by the full Jamaican national team.
Little Kev Lambert familiarity.
Yeah, a little bit of crossover there, perhaps. See if he has to stick the leg in. What happens?
Oh, cheers.
Yeah.
That's fair. Games are ruthless. Well,
the other thing to note, actually, and this is one thing going back to that Richmond game, is that Richmond's goalkeeper from last year, Paul Christensen, he retired.
Yeah.
They had to play Jared Mazzola in that game against Richmond because Ben Hale, their other goalkeeper, wasn't in the matchday squad.
Yeah.
Not sure why, not sure on the full details of quite what's behind that, but yeah, it's... Look, they only had 6 on the bench in that game, Greenville. So when you look at some of this stuff, you wonder about, is the depth always there? And that's a big problem, actually, for teams at that level. The budgets are not big. We talk about USL Championship budgets not being big. In USL League One, you're talking smaller again.
Yeah.
It's why you've got so many young guys. It's why the squad doesn't really extend out, perhaps, in the way that it does at certain clubs that you play against in the Championship. So... I don't know. I'm intrigued. Look, it's such a small sample to deal with. One game this season. One game for a team that got knocked out in the playoffs first round, I think, last year. Yeah. We just haven't seen enough. And that could be a problem here as well, because that one game wasn't last weekend. It was actually a week and a half ago. So they're going to come in rested against a Phoenix Rising team that is very much not rested. And they're going to have a degree of a surprise factor possibly around them. We don't really know quite what to expect.
100%. Well, and I mean, even kind of seeing in the chat, right? This is not a team to be taken lightly. Goalie John Harks, manager of Greenville Triumph. They are very good. Former...
Speaking of manager, actually, Juan Guerra, manager of Oakland Roots last season, who fell 2-0 in their second round Open Cup game to Greenville Triumph.
Good shout.
That game in Greenville.
Seeing, Mikey.
D Gully as well, actually, there. Sorry, we struggled against Valley United last year. Greenville will be better. Yeah, they will be. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot better.
Absolutely.
Night and day.
Mikey, we struggle against non-professional teams in this cup.
They're a professional team. Don't be mean to them.
I know. It's kind of harsh. Jose, look at that. He's actually getting our scouting report and Suns at the same time. A little the synchronicity with the Suns brew. We're just going to move really quickly past whoever Sam Bear. I don't know who that is. What is Max's cheese out of the week? She's trying to revive that.
He's
allegedly.
very cheesy. He's always very cheesy.
Well, we're not doing that. Moving on really quickly.
No, we'll go back to that after.
No, we're not. And then Mick V, I think we have one remaining player from that lineup last year. Yeah, it's a lot of turnover. Again, anyone's game, but that's actually a great transition into how is Rising going to switch up their lineup from even last week, or I should say Saturday, after their 2-2 draw at home. Curious how we think that's going to switch up, because we did hear that Danny Trejo and Darnell King should be available for tomorrow's match. So there's a bit of transition in guys who, Danny Trejo, starter, Darnell King has been starting / would be featuring heavily. You also could have potential, rotation through goalkeeper, number 9, and really trying to figure out which midfielders. So will we maybe see some of the young guys? What is your take on who we might see for tomorrow, especially knowing that it is a Greenville team that's kind of an anomaly?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because the problem is you're stuck in with the rotations in some way, right? Because you've got it sandwiched between 2 games on the weekends either side. There's no way that they're going to play, especially with the injury issues that Rising have had. There's no way they're going to play people like 90. It's not. A few might be able to do it, but a good number of them just aren't going to be able to do that. I'd be intrigued to see if we see Jackson Conway play more of a role.
Yeah, that was my
it's
first
something that we, I think, wanted to see maybe ahead of the San Diego Loyal second clash, and then Manuel Arteaga kind of proved us wrong. But this is a cup game. I'm expecting that we're going to see rotation. I'm expected that of the weaker teams that we're going of the weaker squads we're going to see this week is going to come against Greenville Triumph.
Yep.
And they're going to put a slightly weaker team out, I'd have thought. I'm trying to think now, who else could we see? Eddie Manjoma might see a bit more playing time. We haven't seen a huge amount. We've seen him come off the bench twice. But I haven't really been able to see him too much. I think Darnell King actually could feature a bit more in this.
I figure honestly might start, especially if it's with a number of guys who maybe aren't featuring regularly or not starting regularly. Could be a nice solidifying presence as that captain out there.
I will say this: Erickson Gallardo, perfect example. Yeah, I'd be interested to see Gallardo. I mean, the other thing to note though with these, you've always got to be careful in a cup game like this. About planning for minutes in some ways, because obviously if it's level at the end of 90 minutes, you're playing 30 more minutes. When you've got guys that you're easing back from injury, as if the game is even close to being possibly turned around, possibly close to being leveled, you've got to be very wary about what you do in terms of giving someone a 10-minute run out, because a 10-minute run out becomes a 40-minute run out. And that's quite a difference. I
believe the discrepancy, at least how I see it, is you do not look at it depends how you prioritize the Open Cup. Rising, from what we've seen in the past, and regardless of the results, it sounds like, for all intents and purposes, it's a team who they want to win trophies across the board. They want to prioritize the Open Cup. This isn't just a throwaway game to them. Knowing that, or thinking that, you don't just trot out someone as a tune-up game, or, hey, you're coming back from injury, let's give you 10-minute run out, and then we're really going to play you further in the championship. I could be wrong, but that is how I personally would approach it. And I can imagine that with a squad, you're trying to rotate, you're trying to work guys in. You don't want to just throw someone to the wolves when they're not in a position to succeed in this type of match. Even if it is a Greenville Triumph, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. I like how the chat, by the way, is giving us these score updates.
Memphis win. Memphis
managed to get the win late by the sounds.
Oh my word!
Knox, it hasn't appeared on my screen as of yet, but of course, Ilya Ilic should equalize for Knoxville from the spot. They made that a good game. Disappointing. Can we shout out the fact that Club de Leon, with 12 players, 12
to clarify, on their squad, they're not playing with 12 players, it'd be highly
and they've
illegal.
already made this sub.
Oh dear
gosh. They've already made this sub. Club de Leon.
Hey, that line is on BetMGM. Let's see what it is live right now.
But they've already made this sub.
Stall, Owen, stall.
Hang on. They've already made this sub. They have had 56% possession against San Antonio. I know San Antonio sit back, but this isn't one of those games you play that way. Because San Antonio have only had 3 shots. They haven't had a shot on target yet. Club de Leon only have 12 players. Half their team were cup tied, right? Because Club de Leon, for those of you who don't know, Club de Leon had an amateur team. They started as an amateur team. They joined Nisa this year. And they still have an amateur team playing in the lower levels.
Oh dear gosh. You can get Club de Leon to win outright on BetMGM plus 825.
It's 0-0 at halftime.
Yep.
Well, hold on. I will say this though. You can get San Antonio FC to just win the game at minus 190. That's not bad.
No,
compared to what it was before this game. Oh man, that's mystifying. San Antonio have a lower pass accuracy. San Antonio are completing 50% of their passes. Don't get me wrong, they've got a heavily rotated side, San Antonio FC, but they don't seem to have that many subs themselves. If they get knocked out, I am mystified, but we'll see. We'll see.
Man, mystified.
This is why I love the Cup, right?
This is why we
back to the point that I was making earlier. Yeah, Club de Leon have very few players because they have an amateur team. They started as an amateur team that play in the lower levels. That team's still playing in the lower levels. They entered the qualifiers in September, but once you've played for a club in any given edition of the Open Cup, you can't move. You are cup tied. So, as a perfect example now, if Rising was to acquire a player from, I don't know, Memphis who played in this game today,
yes,
too late, done. You can't play. You can play in the league, can't play in the cup. You can only play for one team in each edition of the cup.
Good to know.
And that's a pretty common rule around cup competitions around a lot of the world. So it's not anything particularly weird. Same thing happens in the FA Cup, the League Cup, all of that. You can play for one team.
You know what? I think I'm gonna be a curmudgeon, and I think I'm gonna take San Antonio on that one. It sounds too good to be true. You're the one booing. You're the one saying, "Oh, Rising would be happy with a draw on their first match at home." Get out of here, man. You're a hater. Well, yeah, I'm gonna place a bet. I'm gonna look really foolish if they come on board. But going back to Rising,
Max,
what?
You're gonna look really foolish if they
yeah.
lose.
If I come, I'll look foolish. That's okay. Not the first, not the last. Hey, anyway.
Exactly. That was kind of the point I was making.
Yeah, we get it. But no, going back to Rising, something they got to just work towards. It's going to be interesting how they line up tactically. I personally think you're going to see, I'd say somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6 subs, maybe a little bit more, but we'll see what happens. It's the beauty of the cup. Sometimes you just got to roll up your sleeves, get it done. Hope those who like on audio, here we go. But speaking of rolling up your sleeves and just getting it done, man, sometimes it's just about relaxing. It's not about rolling up your sleeves. It's actually the reverse of that. Really, it's taking some OG's brands. Our friends at OG's, they got all kinds of stuff. The Happy Balance gummies, for those of you who are looking a little bit of a balance, a little bit of CBD to THC, that 1-to-1 ratio, looking to chill out, get that full body feeling. They also got the Sleep Edition. For those of you who are like, hey, maybe it's been a long game. You're watching that Memphis game. It goes 123rd minute. You're just exhausted and you want to take an OG's afterwards just to chill out, go to sleep. Bam, that's what you can do. But hey, I would say you be sure to look out on our social channels and across our shows on Thursday because we have a special announcement with our friends at OG's Brands because it is official. They do have their Happy Balance gummies, are live on the shelves. You can find them at your local dispensary by checking out ogsbrands.com. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy. But again, check out on Thursday. Got a really cool announcement going on with them. Buds-a-Palooza is around the corner next Friday on April 14th. So there's a little teaser, another teaser. Be on the lookout for them. And by the way, be on the lookout for our friends at Valley Tap Room. You heard that we announced them on Saturday. We had copious beers with them last Tuesday. It was a very enjoyable time. You even said that you would possibly go to trivia next Tuesday. Did I hear that right?
It's a very likely one at this point. So if you want to come out, do trivia, see if you can do better than me.
Super easy.
Have a few drinks and talk some Phoenix Rising. I'm sure we'll.
I hear if you go, Owen will buy you a beer.
I didn't say that.
Oh, I hear you buy. Oh, and buy
it's okay because Max is getting them tomorrow.
Wait, no, you can't just turn this. You can't just turn this on.
Of course, I can.
I will not. No,
I always
you're
do.
Gonna buy him a beer.
I always do. I always turn it on.
All right. Well, you're gonna go to Valley Tap Room and
tell them it was Max. Max sent you.
Get out of here. For our East Valley friends, we're super excited to partner with them. They are hosting a pub crawl this Saturday, the 8th, starting at noon, and then they're gonna be having some live music starting at 6 o'clock. So check them out.
Rising's game's on Sunday this week,
yes,
so it doesn't even clash. You can go to the pub crawl on the Saturday. You've got a free Saturday. Go.
When their guy Donald texted me that, I'm like, Donald, man, you know that Rising plays on Saturday. I'm like, wait a second. They usually play on Saturdays, but not
Sunday this week.
Not this week. Sunday. That's when they play. But check them out on Saturday. Check out Valley Tap Room on Saturday for the pub crawl at noon, and then live music at 6 in the northeast corner of the 202 and Gilbert Road. Super fun time. Nice outdoor patio. The weather is freaking nice. Like, go enjoy it. Tell him we send you. Tell Donald what's up. Good guy. Owen will buy you a beer. Okay, cool. Going off of that, what are some notable results from around the league we want to touch on?
We'll look at the Open Cup.
We'll start at the Open Cup first because that's timely. I know we're spouting out different stats here and there. Anyone, by the way, send us updates, please, as they come in, especially now that I have a bet active on BetMGM. Let me know.
Yeah, I mean, we've got San Antonio still 0-0, as we said. Miami FC got the result of a Jacksonville Armada 3-1. Hartford Athletic getting it over the Lansdowne Yonkers 3-0. Tampa Bay Rowdies beating Nona 2-0. Detroit City getting the win over Gold Star Detroit 1-0. And it's late in the day there, so Flower City Union 3-1 over Manhattan. Looks like it's going to stand. That'll be the result there. Charleston Battery at the moment battering Savannah Clovers.
That's a mean thing
It's 4-1, 5 minutes to play there. And early doors, still the first half, but it is New Mexico United. Looks like they're taking the goal away from Greg Hurst. They're giving it to Jose Ariel Sosa instead. Justin Portillo with a penalty to make it 2-0 there as they approach the break. One other game tonight, Oakland Root against El Farolito. El Farolito, a former winner of this tournament, actually, under the name CD Mexico back in 1993. Some other big games coming up tomorrow as we look around. You got Indy 11, Michigan Stars, Louisville City against Lexington, Loudoun United against North Carolina, Charlotte Independence against Appalachian FC. You got the Bobcats taking on Ocean City Nor'easters, Chattanooga Red Wolves against Birmingham Legion. That'll be an interesting one to watch for obvious reasons. Rising playing them on Sunday. South Georgia Tormenta playing RGV.
Hold up, Mikey just sent a boo with 3 exclamation points.
I imagine it's taking the goal away from Greg Hurst.
I was going to say, I figured, just make sure to clarify your boo, please, or just direct it at Owain with no context. We're fine with that too. Go on.
Union Omaha playing El Paso tomorrow. Des Moines Menace playing Chattanooga. Tulsa Athletic against FC Tulsa. It's the Tulsa Derby. That one at 5 Arizona time.
Tulsa
Colorado
Derby.
Springs Switchbacks against Northern Colorado Hailstorm.
My gosh.
There we go.
That's
Vegas Lights hosting LA Force. San Diego Loyal hosting Albion San Diego. Sacramento Republic.
A lot of derbies.
Crossfire Redmond. Orange County playing Capo, which is, I believe they're from somewhere nearby. Somewhere else in Orange County.
Someone tell us where Capo is.
It's somewhere else in Orange County they're from. Central Valley Fuego playing Monterey Bay. There is a Thursday game then, which is Richmond Kickers against Cleveland. That game, by the way, prior to that game is the draw for the third round of the Cup. And the pregame show for that one will be the draw for the third round of the Cup, when Phoenix Rising, if they get through, will be put in the hat. Potentially could draw an MLS team. Anyone who gets through could potentially draw an MLS team.
Are they actually drawn out of the hat?
Like no, hat?
I want to clarify.
No, that would be amusing. No, they shuffle envelopes
we make
instead,
it a top hat,
and it's weird.
An envision a top hat.
Yes, from San Juan Capistrano. There we go. Thank you, Digali. And then there's one game from today that was postponed a couple of days ago because of weather conditions that were expected. Forward Madison taking on Chicago House next week. That's the full rundown of the U.S. Open Cup games this week.
There's a lot of stuff.
A lot of games.
A lot of games going on. Well, my word. Well, thank you for breaking down all those different games. So much to keep track of, and a lot of stuff to keep track of with what we got going on today. Appreciate it. See a lot of diehards in the chat. Those who have been following our content, appreciate you guys. If you want to become a diehard today, check out phnxlocker.com to grab your membership. Receive exclusive content discounts on all events. That's 20% off all events, 20% off all merch. Again, Coyote shirts out there, some good Rising stuff, some more merch to be dropped this week. Wait, what? Oh my gosh, what did I just say? But yeah, check out all that. You can use your Die Hard discount to receive that discount. And you also get access to our Discord chats, all kinds of great stuff. We're doing more events with our friends at BetMGM, so check out everything. Again, we give priority to our diehards there. We want everyone to be involved, but you get a lot of nice extra added value for our friends who are diehards. So thank you guys so much. Please check us out at phnxlocker.com. Buddy, we had quite a show. We are going to be live again. This man is watching Open Cup right now. He wants to see my BetMGM bet fail. Yeah. How dare he? He now wants to root for the underdog. Now he does.
We do.
Now he does.
It's not underdogs that Rising actively compete with.
This man knows how. This man. Anyway, we are going to be live tomorrow after the Open Cup concludes. Look forward
to
the
Open Cup game concludes.
What's up?
They're not winning the cup tomorrow, Max.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the game confused. Yeah, you can play once and you win the whole dang thing. No. Yes, the game concludes.
There are some clubs that might act like that, but Phoenix Rising is not one of them.
We will see if Rising can triumph over Greenville. But bang. But yes, we're looking forward to that. Dollar beer night. Let's not bury the lead. Burr, burr, burr. Those who like beers at $1 price point. Oh, wow. Thank you, producer Shane. Those who like beers at $1 price point. Enjoy that tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. I think it's really cool.
You coming out tomorrow?
I'm still at TBD. I got another show at 6 p.m.
The man is a
but he might rush over and those dollar beers you can get for him quite quickly. We don't yet know, by the way, D Gully, sorry, how many tickets are sold.
You don't want to see me on dollar beer night. I mean, you didn't want to see me last time with the Bud Lights. You don't want to see me this time.
Yeah,
it's fair. That's fair.
Well, maybe we do.
Shout out to Dollar Beer Nights of old. It has been a couple of years. It's been a while, folks. It's been a while. We want to see y'all out there with a dollar beer in hand. And just a reminder for our shows this week, right? We're going live again, like I mentioned, during postgame tomorrow. You'll then catch us on Friday for a little bit of Open Cup recap, as well as a preview to Sunday's match against Birmingham Legion. Then you will see us on Sunday after that match postgame to recap everything. So again, tomorrow, Friday, and Sunday, I will leave you with this, and I would love the chat's participation. Your favorite soccer movie. It could be a documentary. I would like to get your guys' impromptu answers if you have one burning. If you need more time, I'm happy to give mine to start.
I was actually too busy thinking about what cheese you wear this week, Max.
Oh my gosh, no! All right, a very good soccer movie, and this is kind of an underrated one, but I think it's just stupid and hilarious. Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell. It is quite a good one, and if you want a documentary, it's actually quite the opposite of a Will Ferrell movie. It's kind of dark, but the Hillsborough disaster movie on...
That's very dark.
Let me finish. It is a well-constructed documentary, and it is like...
Wait, which one now? Which one? Because there's a lot of documentaries.
The one on the 30 for 30. It is, I think it's actually very well done, and it's just something where, like, I don't know, to see what went on and such a, like, what that meant to a community. Again, it's like very opposite, very dark, but like very well done. Also, the Maradona documentary is also fantastic.
Yeah, the Maradona seems more fun.
It's kind of in the middle of like those two. I gave you like extremes, then the Maradona one is in the middle. Again, dark, but hey, it's good.
Max.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry that I appreciate good documentaries. I'm not saying it's just a fact. Okay, whatever. I speak my truth, Owen. Do you have a favorite?
No, I'm just gonna let you finish.
You're a Bender like Beckham. I can tell.
Just gonna let you finish.
All right, Shane, do you have a favorite soccer doc, sir?
Kicking and Screaming is for sure.
Kicking and Screaming. Let's go. Chat. Damn United. See that? The Big Green. I'm actually not familiar with the Big Green. That's I'll have to check that one out. But anyway, thank you guys for there we go. Well, appreciate you guys joining us. Got a lot that we went through today. Again, catch us tomorrow for everything going on. You can follow myself at Max David Simpson. You can follow this guy here at OJ Evans 18. By the way, seeing a couple come in late. Unrivaled Red Wings and Avalanche and then also once in a lifetime. The story of the New York Cosmos. Andrew Baker, thank you for that suggestion. I will have to look that up because I'm all about some Cosmos stuff. So I will definitely like to check that one out. You guys can check us out at PHNX__rising because...
Double the underscores. Double the fun.
Yeah, double the underscores, double the fun.
And it will be double the fun if Max loses his bet now.
All right, on that note, let's make like a tree and get the heck out of here. I appreciate you guys joining us, and we will catch you guys tomorrow. But until then, adios. May the Open Cup be with you.